State your first and your last name in a complete sentence. That would be great. Like
My
mine.
name is Rosa Burton.
And what's your hometown?
I'm originally from Trenton, North Carolina,
Very
but I've been here since the early 60s in D.C., Washington, D.C., since the early 60s.
So I'm sure you've seen a lot from
Yes, I
then
have.
till now.
I have.
Wonderful. What is one scripture that you've held on to that has really gotten you through a lot of hard times?
No matter what happened to you, you just that you have to hold on and keep the faith. And remember that God is in control.
Is there a particular Bible verse that you turn to?
No, not really.
You just have a constant faith in God that's really pulled you through.
Yes.
So what is your story? What brings you here today?
Because at an early age, I know ever since I found my cancer, I discovered it in 2000, in 2000, I think it was 1990, when I discovered that I had a problem with my breast. It was one night when I was in bed, I was lying there, and just out of the clear blue sky, something said to examine my breast. And when I did, I felt this lump, and it moved, it was soft. And then it was kind of frightening. And then I examined the other side. I didn't feel anything. So I continued to lay there. And I did it again, and I still felt the same thing. And I got scared. And then for the next couple of days, I continued to examine it. And I said the same thing, and then I decided I better call my doctor to make an appointment. And when I did, I went. I didn't tell him that I had the lump. I just told him that I wanted him to, give me an examination. So when he examined my breast, during the time he was examining, he said, "Mrs. Burton, do you realize you have a lump in your breast?" I said, "Yes." He said, "How long has it been here?" I said, "I don't know. I just felt it a few days ago." And so he said, "Have you ever had a mammogram?" I said, "No." And he said, "Well, we're going to have to see to it that you get a mammogram." So then we set up all that. I went to get a mammogram. And when he came back, he told me that it was malignant. And he said they would have to do a lot of different tests before he did an operation. So they did a scan, brain scan, liver scan, bone scan. Just any time you can name, they did that. And he told me that he probably have to remove my breast, but he wanted to make sure. And he said, but it wasn't nothing to told me not to worry about it, but I did. And I was still afraid, and I got to a place my attitude changed. I didn't want to be bothered with anybody. And then I said to myself, why me? And after I said that, I started thinking, I said, I shouldn't have said that, because that's the wrong way to think. That I am no better than anybody else, so just one of those things. So I somewhat talked to a friend of mine, and we started talking, and then I started preparing myself for this operation. Every morning I would get up, I would go and open my bedroom window and inhale the air from the trees, because there's a tree near my bedroom window. Inhale and exhale to strengthen my lungs. So it would make me much stronger. And then I went to the library and got books and read up on different types of herbs you can drink that might help you. For the people that's going through cancer, I drink that. And then I said to myself, if something happened to my children, I don't know what I would do. Because my husband and I had divorced. No, we had divorced, but we had separated. But the kids were living with me and they were still in school. So I said, I don't know what would happen to them. So then I said, well, I just have to start praying and ask God to help me to go through all this. And eventually my attitude started changing. I began to feel happy again. At the end of the day, the morning I went for my operation, I felt real. I woke up, I was smiling, and I was just so happy. Even when I went into the operating room, I was there. I don't know, it seemed like I was the happiest person. I felt like I was the happiest person in the world. And when I came out of the operation, I still felt the same way. And I sat up on I asked them, could I set up on, the bed that they push you on when they take you out to take you to your room? I asked them, could I sit up? They said yes. And I sat up on the bed and they pushed me all the way to the room, and I was just so happy. I really felt like a different person.
Thank you for sharing that. So, how did God reveal himself to you during that operation and prior when you got the diagnosis?
Well, it was like that. If I felt like he would stand by me with all that, but I just had to have confidence and realize that he would take care of me. That's why I got to the place I didn't worry anymore. And I said, what will happen will happen. And that's
How
it.
would you encourage someone to hold on? As in, if they found out they got diagnosed, they felt themselves getting to a bad place, how would you tell them to stay motivated that it will get better?
How would I ask them what now?
What advice would you give? Like, let's say someone's watching this right now.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to somebody that just got diagnosed? To stay motivated, that although this is a health concern, although their emotional state might be going downwards, to stay positive and think good thoughts. What would you tell them? Would you tell them to go to a Bible, a scripture? Would you tell them to surround themselves with
I was around to have family and friends around them for good support. Someone that had a pleasant attitude and be willing to listen and try to understand.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, is there any nonprofit organization that you're a part of? Maybe is there a book that you're writing?
No.
Something personal about you?
No.
Do you write poetry?
No.
Do you read? Is there a book that you read during this time that you want to share with our
No, I
viewers?
don't. No, not that much.
Okay. What about a group? Is there like a group of women that you go to every now and then? You guys exchange maybe stories of how well you're doing?
No, we don't. Sometimes we might talk about each other's sickness or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Are you still in touch with the other Raw Beauty women that you met in 2012?
No. Mm-mm.
No. Okay. That's perfectly fine.
But I do think they all should try to stay positive, because actually there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
So, how might your Raw Beauty experience bless or impact another survivor?
I think it's a good idea, and I really,
Okay. If they were watching this video, like another person that was a survivor, what would you want them to get from your testimony or your journey? What would you want them to walk away with and say, oh, Miss Rosa really inspired
That
me?
there's a reason that there's a reason to live. Right. And that if you have a sickness and you go to the doctor, they try to take care of yourself. But there is a reason to live. We all go through a lot of problems, but as a whole, it's a good reason to live.
What is raw beauty to you? In a complete sentence, can you tell me 2 words that come to mind when you think of raw beauty?
I really don't know. I can't answer that.
For example, for me, raw beauty is enlightenment. Raw beauty is...
Courage.
There you go. So to you, raw beauty is courage?
Yes.